Honestly, you're being a drama queen. I've seen my sisters go through pregnancy, and they handled it without half this fuss. Please grow. Linda's face turned red with anger and disbelief. Pain is different for every woman, Ben. Just because your sisters didn't complain doesn't mean I'm pretending. Sure, he said dismissively, waving her off. 3 nights passed, and Ben was at his wit's end. The constant pain, the cravings, and the compulsion to cook for Linda whenever she demanded it were too much. I can't take it anymore, he sobbed. Ben and Linda had always shared a simple content life in their cozy African home. The scent of hibiscus often wafted through their modest bungalow surrounded by mango trees that swayed lazily in the tropical breeze. Ben worked as a bank officer in the bustling city, while Linda managed their home with care. They had been married for 5 years and were now expecting their first child. Ben Otobo was a smooth-talking, strong-headed man from Apala village. He was the type who believed men carried the world on their shoulders while women simply cooked, cleaned, and complained for a living. What is itself, he would say. Pregnancy is not that hard. Women just like to make noise. Linda, his wife, tried explaining her struggles. Ben, you don't understand. My back aches, my feet swell, and this baby kicks like a footballer. But Ben would roll his eyes and wave her off. Beg Linda, let me hear word. If it was me, I'd carry that baby without making noise. One fateful night, Ben sat under a broad mango tree, grumbling to his friends about Linda. Women always find something to complain about. If only I could carry the baby myself, she'd see how easy it is. Pregnancy had changed Linda's world in ways she never imagined. Her back aches constantly, her feet swelled up like loaves of bread, and sleep became an elusive dream. On one particularly humid evening, she winced in pain as a sharp cramp gripped her belly. Ben, she called out, her voice strained. Ben, who was lounging on the couch scrolling through comedy skits on his phone and laughing loudly, barely glanced up. What is it now, Linda? Linda sat on the couch, holding her big round belly. Her face twisted in pain as she let out a groan. My back is killing me, she said, wincing. And the baby keeps kicking my ribs. I can't even sleep anymore. Her husband, Ben, looked up from his phone, unimpressed. You're always complaining, Linda, he said with a smirk. Honestly, you're being a drama queen. I've seen my sisters go through pregnancy, and they handled it without half this fuss. Please grow. Linda's face turned red with anger and disbelief. Pain is different for every woman, Ben. Just because your sisters didn't complain doesn't mean I'm pretending. Sure, he said dismissively, waving her off. Stop wincing in my ears. Finally, you'll be all right. Linda clenched her teeth, but she didn't say anything more. What was the point? Ben clearly thought he knew everything. That night, as Linda lay in bed unable to sleep, tears pricked her eyes. Her husband's words stung more than the cramps in her belly. The ceiling fan whirred above, failing to cool her overheated body. Suddenly, the room filled with an eerie blue light. Linda blinked, thinking she was hallucinating from exhaustion. But no, a strange figure floated in the air near the bed. The figure had glowing skin and eyes that sparkled like stars. What in the world? Linda whispered, sitting up. She shook Ben awake. Ben. Wake up. There's something in the room. Ben grumbled, turning over. What are you talking about? But when he opened his eyes, he froze. The glowing figure smiled, the being spoke in a voice that was both soothing and commanding. I am Aziel, a genie sent to grant you 3 wishes. Choose wisely. Linda's jaw dropped. Ben rubbed his eyes, thinking he was dreaming. But the genie was still there, shimmering like a magical flame. Ben blinked in disbelief. A genie? This has to be a dream. Dream or not, Aziel said calmly, the wishes are real. Now, make your first wish. 3 wishes? Ben said, sitting up. You're kidding. I never joke about wishes, the genie said. However, there are rules. Ben, you will make the first 2 wishes. Linda will make the last wish. Linda frowned. Why does he get 2 wishes? Balance, the genie said cryptically. Ben grinned, his disbelief turning into excitement. This is going to be good, he said. Linda had a bad feeling about this. Ben's mind raced. He rubbed his hands together, thinking hard. He had always fantasized about an easier life. All right, for my first wish. I want to earn a lot of money without doing much work at the office starting from tomorrow morning, please. The genie nodded. Granted, he said with a snap of his fingers. Linda rolled her eyes. Typical, she muttered. For my second wish, Ben continued, ignoring her, I wish Linda would always cook my favorite meals whenever I ask, no complaints. And I mean fresh meals, not leftovers. She knows I hate eating stale foods. Ben said, eyeing her. Linda gasped. Are you serious? That's your wish? Hey, a man's gotta eat, Ben said smugly. I know you always make them, but your complaints while you make the food often makes me lose my appetite to eat altogether. The genie nodded again. Granted. Linda's face turned red with anger. You're unbelievable, Ben. The genie turned to her. Now, Linda, it is your turn. Choose wisely. Linda's mind raced. She wanted to teach Ben a lesson, but how? Then an idea sparked in her mind, dangerous but perfect. I wish that Ben and I swap places, she said, in every way. Aspirations, tastes, pleasures, and pains. Ben's eyes widened. Wait, what? No. Before he could finish, the genie clapped his hands. Granted, he said, disappearing in a flash of light. At first, everything seemed normal. Ben sighed in relief, thinking the whole thing had been a weird dream. But as dawn broke, he woke up to a sharp, unfamiliar pain in his lower belly. Ow! What the? He groaned. He threw off the covers and froze. His underwear was stained with blood. Panic set in as he rushed to the bathroom. That's when he noticed the weight on his chest. He had breasts. Ben stared at his reflection, horrified. His penis was gone, replaced by, well, the opposite. No, 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 he shouted. Meanwhile, Linda woke up feeling amazing. The aches and pains were gone. Her body felt light and strong. She stretched with a smile, then heard Ben's panicked cries. She walked to the bathroom door. Ben? You okay? The door creaked open, and Ben stood there, pale and trembling. Linda. I'm you. Linda's eyes widened. Oh my God, she whispered, covering her mouth. Ben grabbed her shoulders. Fix this. Call that genie back. Linda shook her head, trying not to laugh. I don't think it works that way. Ben tried to call his office to request sick leave, but no one answered. Desperate, he begged Linda to go in person. As Linda walked into Ben's office, she braced herself for awkward questions. But to her surprise, everyone greeted her warmly. Good morning, Mr. Ben, the receptionist chirped. Mr. Ben? Linda echoed, puzzled. Colleagues offered to handle her workload, and even Ben's boss brought her coffee. Linda couldn't believe how effortlessly everything fell into place. Everyone treated her like she belonged there. Ben's boss even fetched her coffee. Anything you need, just let me know, he said with a smile. Linda was baffled. Was this how Ben's work life was? That evening, she returned home to find Ben curled up on the couch, still in pain. His face was pale, and he looked miserable. How was work? He asked weakly. Surprisingly easy, Linda said, smirking. But I'm starving. Ben groaned. The fridge is full. Help yourself. Linda frowned. Everything tastes stale to me now. I need fresh food. Ben's body tensed. You can't be serious. Linda gave him a stern look. Without a word, Ben dragged himself to the kitchen, wincing with every step. 3 nights passed, and Ben was at his wit's end. The constant pain, the cravings, and the compulsion to cook for Linda whenever she demanded it were too much. I can't take it anymore, he sobbed. Genie, come back. Please. The genie appeared, arms crossed. You called? Undo this madness. Ben begged. I'll do anything. The genie sighed. The wish expires a few hours before childbirth. Don't worry, you won't have to deliver the baby. You wouldn't survive it. Ben collapsed in relief. Thank you. Linda chuckled. Looks like you learned your lesson. A few weeks later, the magical pregnancy ended just as Aziel promised. The baby returned to Linda's womb, where it belonged. Though Linda was tired, she bore the weight with renewed strength, drawing smiles from the entire village. And Ben held her hand through every contraction, his respect for her growing with each scream. When she finally gave birth, their baby girl was chubby, bubbly, and beautiful. They named her Amazon, after the strength it took to bring her into the world. Yes, a tribute to Linda's strength. Ben held his daughter tightly, tears running down his face. He looked at Linda with deep admiration. Thank you for everything, Linda. You are the strongest person I know. Word of their experience spread across Orkpala. People laughed at the thought of proud Ben waddling with a pregnant belly, but they also praised him for learning an important lesson. Ah, Ben is now a changed man, the villagers whispered. Indeed, Ben became a changed man. He no longer dismissed women's struggles and became a vocal advocate for empathy and understanding. Every struggle is valid, he often said. Nobody's pain should be dismissed. From that day onward, Ben treated Linda, and all women, with respect. He understood now that everyone's struggles were unique. Just as lizards go about their business with their bellies hidden, so no one knows which one suffers from belly aches, some pains you could see, others you couldn't. And so, Ben and Linda's story became a legend in Okpala, often told under the shade of that same mango tree, with laughter, lessons, and a pinch of magic. And whenever Amazon asked about her name, Ben would smile and say, because your mother is the fiercest warrior I know.
Watching to the very end. Congratulations, you've unlocked your chance to win our prize. To enter, simply leave a comment below. 1. Start with the name of your favorite character from this story. 2. Tell us where you're watching from. 3. And share at least one lesson you've learned from this story. The comment with the most likes and replies by 4 p.m. GMT tomorrow will be our winner. Get commenting and good luck. I'll see you again on our next story. Until then, stay bookie bookie.